I'm Bernadine Jayasinghe. I'm a news anchor and also a TV presenter. I present the TV1 Business Bureau and also visiting lecturer at the Sri Jayawardenapura University and also corporate trainer and many more. The list goes on, so I'm not going to talk about me because today it's time to talk about you because everyone wants to be a great speaker. But most of the time when we say, would you like to do a speech? Would you like to give the welcome speech? Would you like to do the vote of thanks? Inside you, you really want to do that. But the problem is you say, no, I really don't want to do it. I think you are better or you may be like, you should go and do it, but not me. And you start stammering and you start shivering, even though your heart really needs to go and talk. What happens is your legs feel paralyzed. So I'm sure these symptoms are well known to you because these symptoms were well known to me as well. Whenever someone asks me to do a speech, most of the time, even though I really love to do, sometimes I really ask myself, do I really have to do and do I really want to do this and try this? So this session is not going to be a session where I'm just going to go on talking about what communication is, what public speaking is, and how to discover the speaker in you with theory and all. So this session is going to be an interesting session where you can ask me many questions and I'll be happy to clarify all those questions. So maybe I'll stay for a little while till everyone gets on live. I'll give you maybe 30 seconds. Okay, let me ask you, why do you want to be a great speaker? Why do you want to communicate? And have you really thought about this? Because whatever we do, whatever the industry we are in, communication is something very important. And also, before discovering the speaker in you, let's talk about what communication is. Communication is how we communicate with someone. It's a two-way process, and it can be verbal communication as well as non-verbal communication. Sometimes when we say non-verbal communication, people say, how can you communicate to someone non-verbally? And it's always when we think about communication, what we always think is all about talking. And it's all about words and it's all about the voice and it's all about the content that we're sharing. But if you really look into communication, you'll understand that communication, what's important is body language as well as verbal communication as well. And also how you communicate will decide how strong your relationship will be. So it's very important that you need to communicate effectively to have a productive relationship. So let me tell you that effective communication equals productive relationship. So let me emphasize on that. Effective communication equals productive relationship. So if we don't communicate nicely or if we don't communicate properly, if we don't communicate appropriately, then sometimes it really can tarnish and it really can affect our relationship as well. So example, if we go and talk to someone in a very nice way, in a pleasant way, and in a way that we can capture and really talk to their hearts, then you will be able to have a great, amazing relationship. Even with the audience, when you really do a speech, sometimes you think why you need to do a speech is just to go tell what you really have to do. So next time when you have to do a speech, I want you to ask yourself, why are you doing the speech? Why did someone ask me to do the speech? Why did I decide to do the speech? And why I want to do the speech? Because when you really ask yourself the question why you want to do the speech and why you want to be a speaker, then you realize the depth of it. Then you realize the real purpose behind of why you need to do the speech. So you will do the speech with more meaning. And the most important thing is why you do a speech or why you communicate is to express your thoughts. And why you communicate is to maybe greet someone, maybe to voice your thoughts, maybe share your ideas, share your knowledge, and many more things actually. So when you know why you're communicating, you will be able to give your 100%, and you will be able to do a better and a greater job, and you will be able to connect with your audience. Otherwise, what we see is many people come and just go on with their speech, and then they just go and sit down, and they haven't connected with the audience, and also sometimes they might have not achieved their purpose of their speech as well. Now, the next most important thing is that when we have to do a speech, you're all scared. So if you're scared, you can always drop a message and also comment right now, and also tell me what are the difficulties you're facing. Because not even if you talk to the best person in the world, the best speaker in the world, they will say that they were nervous at like once or twice or maybe more than that, or maybe they can say they're still nervous. Because everyone, even if you talk to some of the TV personalities, one of the leading TV personalities, and also one of the best speakers in the world, they still say sometimes when they get on stage, they do get that heart beating sound. They do get nervous, and they're really nervous sometimes before they start. But the thing what we really need to understand is that not to stay away of talking because we are nervous. But what we really need to understand is how to find and overcome the nervousness, and how to get rid of nervousness, or how to hide nervousness and start going forward. Because there's a saying, never give up. Whatever the difficulties we have to face with a smiling face, and also we have to have that guts and tell ourselves, I'm going to try. To tell you something, what I believed and I tried is that to be an entertainer. Now you might be wondering, to be an entertainer, okay, what does that mean? Be an entertainer? Come on, how can you be an entertainer? Now, what you need to understand is you should not be a joker, because when you become a joker, what happens is you make fun out of yourself and you get people to laugh at yourself by making crazy things and doing crazy things. But entertainer is you're doing something and people laugh at you and you really don't mind about it and you laugh with them. So what happens in Sri Lanka, what happens in Asia, and what happens in most of the time, what happens is that when we do something, we're really scared, even though we really want to do that, the people will laugh at us. And if you really ask yourself, last time when someone gave you an opportunity to do a speech, why I didn't get up and talk, maybe the reason was that you were scared what people will think of you, or what people will talk behind your back, or what people will actually say about what you were talking. So really tell yourself, just forget about what people think about you. If you're doing the right thing, if you're trying hard, if you really want to succeed, and if you're not doing anything wrong to someone else, why not try? Why not try your level best? Because anyway, people will laugh. Just an example, how many of you are cricket fans? So if you are a cricket fan, just comment on it so I can see you. So let me see who are the cricket fans. Any cricket fans here? I'm sure there are many cricket fans, because wherever we go, what we hear is all about cricket sometimes. So you might have seen people comment about the best cricketers, Sangakkara, Mahela, or anyone, any cricketer in the world, the best cricketers. Sometimes, even though they have conquered and won many matches, even though they have become the man of the match and had kept international records, sometimes people do make mistakes. Sometimes maybe they wanted to hit a six and it becomes a catch. What happens? You see all the people around the whole ground, and whoever who's sitting right in front of the TV start complaining and saying, oh my God, he should have done this instead of this, and it should have become a six instead of a catch. Come on, he should have done this. And you start complaining and you start laughing and you start saying, oh my God, he did a stupid thing. He should have done like this. So haven't you done that? I'm sure you have heard about these lines more than 10 times. So this is a question I actually asked one of my friends. I asked him when he was commenting about this, have you played at national level? And he said, no. Then I said, have you actually, were you the captain at school and you were like the cricket captain? And he said, no. Then I said, have you played at least in a club that you're talking about cricket? And he said, no. Then I said, where have you played cricket? And he just said, I have played cricket at home with my friends in a ground and not in an international stadium or not even a school team. Now, the problem is not that he haven't played in a particular area, or the problem is even the people who haven't played international level or maybe school level still comments about how an international level player plays. And people do comment about it, people do scold about how they play, and people do criticize the international players or international figures, and people do laugh at people. So what I want you to learn through this story is not anything else, but to understand, even if you go to the international level, even if you have conquered so many times and gone to become successful in many areas, still people will laugh at you, still people will criticize, still people will talk behind your back. So what you really need to understand is, if you want to succeed, tell yourself, let people talk about you, let people think about whatever they want to think about you, but you need to start. Because if you are not willing to get up, and if you are not willing to take the opportunity and practice, you're wasting your time. Even if you're watching this video, and even if you are just watching this video, I just want to tell you that first you have to ask yourself a question. Are you willing to change? Because how many training programs have you been to? How many motivational videos have you watched? How many trainings or speeches or whatever have you listened to? But the real question is, after going to all these training programs, after watching these motivational videos, after listening to all the advices of the amazing people in the world, have you really changed? I'm sure you have gone home thinking to yourself, I'm really going to change. I really want to change. I really want to be like that particular person. I want to inspire people. I want to share all these thoughts. And next time, I want to take the opportunity. But with all these dreams, you go home, you sleep, and you tell that I will change tomorrow. I will start from tomorrow. And I will maybe take all the opportunities and discover the speaker in me and try and talk. But the problem is, you think like that and you want to change, but next day onwards, when you go meet your friends, when you go meet your colleagues, you again get back to the normal routine and you get back to your normal self and forget about all those dreams, even though you really badly wanted to conquer and achieve. So you have to change. You cannot be scared to change, because change is something very important. If you're watching this, ask yourself, are you willing to change? Maybe you can comment on comment that I can see as well. So Riyaj, hi, and welcome everyone, whoever who's watching. And please do ask me questions, because I'll be very happy to clarify all your questions, because you really need to change. So from the beginning, I'm going to tell you, ask yourself, do you want to change? Are you willing to change? And are you going to challenge everyone and change and show? Because if you really want to do something, you surely can. So start from now, start from today, and somehow discover the speaker in you and start practicing, because practicing is something very important. So I'll remind you, effective communication equals productive relationship. So if you want to have a productive relationship with your friends, colleagues, then your home, family, and also the corporate sector, or anyone you meet in the world, you need to be amazingly great, and you need to see how you're going to communicate well and connect with them. Because most of the time, why you can't connect with people is the barrier because of this communication. Now let's talk about public speaking and also how you will deliver a speech. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions. If someone asks you right now to come in front of an audience of 1,000 or 500 and deliver a speech, what will hold you back? You really want to go up and you really want to give an amazing speech. And internally, imaginary, like you have been imagining that you have already gone and given the speech. You have the amazing content in your mind. You're all ready, but actually your legs are not letting you to go up and speak. So you go home and think, I had amazing ideas and I really wanted to tell that, but I should have done that, but I couldn't do that. So don't regret. So if there was a reason which held you back, if there was a reason why you didn't go up, if there was a reason why you didn't do a speech, or if there's a reason why you're not doing a speech, please do a type that I can help you out with. Because we all have reason. Example, we have language barriers. Sometimes if we go to an audience where everyone is speaking in English only, then we feel like, oh my goodness, I might not know English really well. And these people can think I'm not that good in English and my pronunciation is really bad and maybe my content is not really good. The second thing could be lack of knowledge. If you go to an audience where you feel that they have amazing knowledge, you can underestimate yourself and think, okay, I don't have much knowledge. So if I talk here, people might think that I'm not that good. Maybe I might sound stupid. So it's better to keep like without talking, sit down and stay and listen to someone rather than going up and talking and making a fool out of myself. Third thing, maybe you really want to talk, but your heart is beating really fast and your legs are paralyzed and your whole body physically is not letting you go. Not letting you get up. That the reason behind that is nervousness, lack of confidence. So other than these three, what are the things which is holding you back? What are the things holding you back? So I'm trying to check some of the comments. Thank you, Riaj, for the wishes. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Umra. So I would like to see some questions because, see, if you really want to develop and if you really want to go up, you really need to ask yourself, what are the things which is holding you back? Because without asking yourself, what are the things holding you back, we cannot go forward. Because we first need to cure, or we need to first take care of the root cause issues, what we are facing in life. And then only we have to fix certain stuff. Now, talking about nervousness, how many of you feel nervous? Almost everyone, including myself. Still, sometimes when I go to read news, or whenever sometimes I go to present, or whenever I go to compare or do a training, I sometimes feel nervous. Many people come and ask me, so don't you feel nervous? We don't show it, but actually inside, all the angels are starting to dance and they're like all running away, and I also don't know what's happening inside. But the beauty is that if you don't show people that you're nervous, people will not know that you're nervous. So we should not show people that we're nervous, because most of the time what happens is we're nervous and we show to the whole world that we're nervous as well. So when we go to do a presentation or a speech or whatever, what happens is, first of all, from our facial expressions, we show them that we are nervous. So the speakers, so the audience will already know that you're nervous and might not really take you strongly, or maybe not be that interested in you, because they think, okay, this person is nervous, and if he or she is not ready and not confident about that particular person, how can we believe or trust that person? So first of all, you need to start building your confidence, which is the most important thing. Okay, there are some questions. I'm very happy that I can see some questions. So Ramesh, thank you for the question. He asks how to concentrate for change. That's a good question. And the next one is it necessary to have good writing skills to have good communication skills? And there's another question, what is the secret for your success? Okay, thank you for all the three questions. Maybe I'll start with is it necessary to have good writing skills to have good communication skills? Not really, because it's important. I mean, writing skills is something very important for communication as well. That is something very essential, because when it comes to email writing and when it comes to certain documentation, certain things, you really need to have writing skills. For that, you need to start developing your skills. And when it comes to speaking, actually, let me tell you, writing skills, it's necessary to have good writing skills to have good communication skills. I will say definitely yes, because it's one of the main areas. Because if you're really good at speaking, but you have to go and give a proposal, or if you really need to write a letter, if you really need to send an email, you really need to have the writing skills. So if you are struggling in writing skills, there are many courses online. There are many free courses online that you can really download, enroll, and start developing yourself as well. So focus on that. So when you read, it will also help you develop in writing skills as well. And also when you start practicing, that will also help you in that. So getting back to the speeches, I really prefer if you can mind map and do speeches, because when it comes to, if you write a speech and memorize it and then give a speech, sometimes you might struggle in future. Because most of the time, practically what happens is you get impromptu, you have to do impromptu speeches, because you go somewhere and suddenly someone says, hi, it's really nice to see you, so would you like to do the welcome address? Or suddenly you go to a company and they introduce you and they ask you to say a few words. And sometimes they can ask you how you felt about the whole event, and maybe they ask you to give a small speech. So at that time, are you going to start writing your speech, or are you going to mind map and use it and nicely deliver with a great flow as well? Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions. Let me see. So Ramesh have asked a brilliant question, that is how to concentrate for change. How you can concentrate for change is that we first have to start believing in ourselves, because almost everyone wants to change ourselves. When talking about change, it's not about just changing for the sake of changing. If you really ask yourself, almost all of us, including myself, we really want to develop day by day. We really want to succeed in whatever we do. So to succeed, to become successful, to be a great leader, to be a great communicator, to discover the speaker in you, you have to tell yourself, I am willing to change. The reason why people don't want to change is recently one person, what they said was, I told them, start developing yourself, start changing yourself, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress, and the way you have, how you really carry yourself, your personality. Then one university student, he's one wonderful university student. I anyway adore the university students, and any student who actually comes for trainings, because they're wonderful in their own way. He said, I asked him, can you come up and do a speech? And there were around 200 students seated. So he came and told me, it's quite tough. So I said, no, if you really trust me, I want everyone to come forward and do a speech. And I said, I did the whole program, and then I asked who's willing to do a speech. And no one raised their hand. So I had to get everyone individually to do the speeches. So when I reached this boy, he said, madam, I can't do this speech. And I said, no, you have to do it. Why do you say that you can't do the speech? And he said, I'm nervous and I really don't want to take this risk. And I said, it's your team or your batchmates. You should take this risk or the challenge. It's not a risk actually, because nothing to lose. It's a challenge. So I feel that you need to take this opportunity, come forward and talk. And if I'm to tell it in Sinhala, he asked me, are you sure, madam, I have something to tell you? And I said, yes, you can tell me. He asked me again, are you sure, madam? Can I tell this? I said, yes, you can tell me. It's tough to do this. And I said, if you really believe me, try this. You can surely change. And he said, madam ki but man karanne pe. To tell it in English, what he said was, madam, you can tell it. It's easy for you to say, but it's hard for me to do. It's always easy for anyone to tell. Now, it's easy for me to tell you to do this, that, and it's easy, and this is how you overcome your nervousness. But when you really go to do it, that's where it's really tough, and that's where you're going to face the toughness, and you really feel it. So that was something really true, what he really told me. So then I said, okay, it's easy for me to say, it's hard for you to do. That's the reason why I want you to do it. And then he said, madam, can I tell you something else as well? I said, okay, you can go on. And he said, okay, I'll believe you and I'll do it. But the problem is I need to stay in this university for another 2 years. If I do this speech, There will be many who's going to call me names. There are many who's going to laugh at me. And there are many who's going to make fun out of me. And I'll be just a joker or an entertainer. And these 2 years will be so tough for me because people are going to make fun out of me because I'm not a good speaker. So the answer I gave was, I said, that's brilliant. I understand how you feel. And I know it's not easy because after you do this speech, you have to stay for 2 years here. I'll just move away after my training, but you'll have to stay and go on. So, but the answer I told him, but let me explain you something. Today, I can let you go sit down and not do the speech because people will laugh at you. But you need to decide after 2 years, you will be going for a job. Today, if you do this speech, people will laugh at you. People will come up with all sorts of names and so many things will happen. But after 2 years, the person who is going to be out of the university with a degree is someone way better than who was some time back. And then when you go to the job, even though your classmates or your colleagues or your batchmates started laughing at you, the person who's going to the job is a better personality than was before. And the other thing that you will be able to negotiate for a better salary, and you will be able to develop yourself, and you'll be a better version of who did the speech before. But if you don't take this opportunity, today you will have a good name, today you will have good friends, but after you graduate from the university, you're just walking off as the same person without learning anything. So what I want to tell you is, when you try doing certain stuff, people will really laugh at you. I have experienced that. I still can remember when I used to do training, and when I started to do training and speaking, I started doing training when I was 18 years old, and 18 to 19 years old. And I still remember how people came and told me, oh my God, you think that you're a trainer, and 18-year-old who on earth will start believing on like a trainer who's 18 years old. And I still can remember one of the senior employers, one of the leading employees, came to me and said, where are you going? At that time, I was carrying a big laptop and started walking towards the lift. And he came to me and said, Bernadine, where are you going? And I said, I'm actually going for a training. And he looked at me and said, wow, so who is the trainer? So I said, actually, I'm the trainer. I'm carrying my laptop and I'm going to do the training. So he looked at me in a very, very weird way. And he asked me, so you are the trainer? So I said, I smiled and I said, yeah, I'm the trainer. And he asked me, are you going to do the training for like little ones? And I was quite worried. And I said, no, actually, I'm going to do the training for big ones. And he suddenly looked at me and said, are you serious? And I said, yeah, I'm serious. And he said, okay, if you're really going to do the training for all the big ones, make sure that you go and tell them that you're a 32-year-old person who looks like a 19-year-old girl. And I said, okay. And while I was going down the lift, I was asking myself, why did he say that? Was I not good? Or was I not matured enough at 19? Or why did he say that? So actually, I went and did the training for the first time when I was around 18, 19. And then what happened was my first training, to be very honest, it was not that good. The feedback was not like amazing. It was not satisfactory. So what happened was I went home and I asked myself, actually my mother asked me, are you sure that you want to be a trainer? Because if you feel that it was not good. And I told her, actually, even though it was not that good, I just want to try again. So when I tried again, some people said, you're still 19. Are you sure you want to continue? Because to be a trainer or to be a communicator or to be a lecturer, what they were saying was you have to at least be 26 or above. Then people will start believing in you. So people said that you have too many big dreams, too many things in your mind, and don't think in a big way because you might not succeed. So all of them were laughing at me, even when I started many things in my life. So a lot of people come and say, you can't do this. And maybe people laugh at you, I'm not sure. So, but what I want you to understand is, if you really want to do something so badly, just believe in yourself. Ask yourself, you really want to do it? And are you doing the right thing? If you're not hurting anyone, if you have the pure intention of developing yourself, go do it, because that's what I did. So I started. I actually started my own company as well when I was 18. And when everyone started laughing at me, saying that, oh my God, at 18, who on earth will start a company and you're going to mess your whole life? So I thought, no, if I don't have a bad intention and my only intention is to do good, let me try. That's fine. If I fail, it's okay. So I think you need to concentrate for change, and how you can concentrate for change is believing in yourself and knowing what you really want and doing it, even though thousands and millions of people are laughing at you. If you believe in yourself, if you work hard, if you really try, and if you keep on practicing and doing well with a good intention, you can prove the others wrong. And believe me, everyone who laughed at you, everyone who complained, or everyone who demotivated you, I'm sure they will come back to you and ask you how you did it. They might come back to you and congratulate you. They might come back to you and ask for help. At that time, make sure that you develop yourself, that you can develop the others as well. Is when you discover the leader and the speaker in you, make sure that you share those and inspire many as well. There's a saying that I really believe, that is, start developing yourself, start working on yourself. Now, this sounds selfish, but I'll tell you the reason why I say this always. Because when you develop yourself and when you work on yourself, what happens is you develop. When you develop, your family, your company starts developing. When your company and your family starts developing, the whole country starts developing. And when your country starts developing, the whole world starts developing. And when the whole world starts developing, we all can live in a beautiful, developed world, and we all can share knowledge, and we can all live in a beautiful, developed world. So start developing yourself, because you have a lot to do and you have a lot to inspire and develop as well. So moving on to the next question. So what is a secret for your success? Uh, Secret for my success. I think I really believed in myself, and I really, I secret for my success. I think I'm a hard worker, and I work really hard. I commit, because I do many jobs. Because if to tell my job, because you asked the secret for my success, I actually do training, then lecturing, then I do corporate training, and also I go to many private and local state universities, as well as also leading companies where I do training there. And other than that, I read news, and also I do present on TV as well. So other than that, I run my own institute and academy, and I have a small company as well. And the list continues. So the list goes on, and that's a question that everyone asks, how actually I balance time. But the only thing I can tell you is, if you really want to do something, you will find time. And if you prioritize, and if you start writing the list what you really want, you can really dedicate. So please dedicate 15 minutes per day, like to develop yourself, like to go through maybe TED Talks, maybe motivational videos, start reading, start maybe writing, start writing your speeches, start practicing in front of your mirror. So all these things will help you. And getting back to what is the secret for your success, I'll tell you, number one, believe in yourself. The confidence is very important. And listen to your gut feeling, because your heart knows the best. And make sure that you will not, because of your success, because you want to achieve, never do anything which will hurt someone else. So if you have a clear, good intention and a vision, I'm sure that you can achieve it. And whatever you do, love what you do and do what you love. Because almost all the jobs I do, I keep on talking from morning to evening. And most of the jobs I do is I stand and do. So today I'm happy that I'm able to sit down and do this, because most of the time lecturing, speaking, presenting, most of the stuff from morning to evening, I keep on standing. And then you don't have the proper breaks and everything. So I think dedication is very important. And also that maybe you have to have a lot of trust in you and do analysis and work hard. You will surely be able to become successful. Okay, tips on making attractive presentation. Definitely, you will have to have great. You have to have great body language, and also you have to have a good structure. And I will show some maybe tips right now. I will share some tips from Little Wire. And that's a great question, Dulan. Thank you. I will give you some tips, which is the eye contact, body language, facial facial expressions, and many other points, which I will share before I just wind up. There are long questions, which I'm trying to read. What would be the smallest step that someone can take right after the session to start off her journey in discovering the speaking themselves? Okay, the first step is that do some impromptu speeches, because come up with random questions. They quickly tell that you go to a conference and then you're asked to give a welcome speech. So just try out. No one's going to listen to you. So make sure that you do a quick welcome address and see how it works. And make sure that you video that and make sure that someone videos that, and you can go through that video and see how it really works, and you can evaluate your speech. How did you use your hands? How did you use your facial expressions? And how was your vocal variation? And what kind of content you used? So you can really start self-evaluating yourself as well. So number one, make sure, get some topics and start doing speeches. Number two, dedicate 15 minutes per day and make sure that you watch at least a 7-minute video and start reading at least a small article, and make sure that wait for that opportunity, grab the opportunity and start speaking. And that's really important. The next question is, how would you act on a mistake you did while your speech? Example, a grammar mistake, wrong word at the wrong time. Thank you, Asela, for that wonderful question. Because we all make mistakes. So make sure that if you make a mistake, don't be upset. Because most of the time what will happen is, imagine I'll just give you an example. I say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's you make a mistake, and what you do is you get upset, you show it from your face, you just do all sorts of hand gestures, and you get really upset. So almost all humans, we are humans, we all make mistakes. If you make a mistake, you say, I'm sorry, and move on. You don't have to stay there, be upset, and show them that you've made a huge mistake. So if you make a mistake, don't worry, just say sorry and just move forward. And that's very important. And if you think it's a mistake that no one will really see it or understand it, just move on. And if it's a mistake that you think that you really have to correct it, you can correct it. And the only thing I want to tell you is, don't panic, don't be upset, don't feel ashamed of yourself, because everyone makes mistakes. But what's important is correcting yourself and moving forward with a lot of confidence. So if you make a wrong word at a wrong time, you can correct yourself and move forward. Not to worry. Don't show it from your face that you have got it wrong and upset and you really regret about it. Always be confident, smile, or be confident and move forward with what you have to say. Thank you, Dulan, for the wishes for the Raigam Teles Awards. Yes, I actually won the Raigam Teles Awards, yes, the best English TV presenter yesterday. So thank you very much, Dulan, and thank you, Riyaj, for the wishes. I'm still yet to reply all the messages saying thank you. It was such an exciting moment as well. And I think this is also a great example, because I won the Best English TV Presenter Award at Raigam Teles Awards. Actually, that was for my first English presenting clip, because I started with the TV1 Business Bureau program. And I applied for the first team program I actually did, and I'm actually happy that I was able to win the Best English TV Presenter of the Year at the Raigam Nations Kelly Awards in Sri Lanka, and it was a great experience. So that's a great example that if you really believe and if you really do it from your heart, I'm sure you can achieve it. So do it from your heart and do your 100%, and I'm sure you'll do great. So what are the other questions? Please do ask me questions. I'll be actually happy to answer all your questions. And to tell you, facial expressions is something very important, and your vocal variation. Example, if you go to a person, if you go to a funeral, imagine you go to a funeral and you go to your friend and says, deepest sympathies, how are you? What will happen? Your vocal variation and your facial expression can ruin that moment, because that really means a lot. Deepest sympathies, pronunciation was right, the content was right, the line was right, it was appropriate, but your facial expressions and your vocal variation actually killed the situation. Same way, if you go to a wedding and you see the couple, you see the groom, you see the bride, and if you're a boy and a friend of the groom, if you go to the groom and says, congratulations, all the best, and then come, the groom might think, why is my friend upset that I'm getting married today? He was not happy. He was really upset. Why was he upset? Congratulations. You said congratulations, but your facial expressions, the way you use your eyes, your facial expressions and your hand gestures, and also maybe your vocal variation can kill that moment. So be careful when you're doing the presentation. Make sure you use appropriate, proper facial expressions and also vocal variation, and that really matters. And whenever you do a speech, make sure that you put more power to your voice and also give some confidence, show confidence by the voice as well. So you can say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So put that effort, because if you say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to talk about something very important, you don't see, like, you don't feel like listening to it. The vocabulary is good, the pronunciation is right, but that energy is not there. So always make sure when you do a speech that energy is there. Smile, talk from your heart. I think the most important thing is talk from your heart to the audience. They'll hear you, they'll feel you. Just don't talk because you have to give a speech. Always talk because you really want to connect with the audience and you really want to give something to the audience. Then you'll surely be able to succeed. Let's see what are the other questions we have. What is the most unforgettable moment in your career? To be honest, there are many unforgettable moments in my career, especially training. Sometimes when you get ready with a presentation and when you go to that particular place and you have an amazing audience, and when your pen drive doesn't start working, then you get like a tad heart attack and you keep on thinking, what am I going to do? My presentation is not working. I don't have a backup plan. So a solution for you is have a backup plan always, and also make sure the content is in your mind, because content is something very important which you really have to have in your mind, so you don't have to rely on your technology. And mind mapping is something very important as well. So I'll give you a tip. Unforgettable moment. There are many unforgettable moments, especially in the news as well, because sometimes there are many, you have to, like, news is always really fast, and you have to be ready with anything because it's a live presentation. So sometimes you get bad heart attacks and you get really nervous because it's live and you really need to do a good job. And there was one, when I was doing comparing at one particular event, it was actually an international event, which was held in Sri Lanka. I will not mention the country. So they had an event in Sri Lanka, and they had a bit of an issue because they had forgotten to bring the agenda. So I was a compeer, and I was almost ready to get on stage, and they said, Bernadine, we don't have the agenda and we are facing a bit of issues. So suddenly what happened was we had to, I said, okay, come on, how can I do the whole event without an agenda? And they said, Bernadine, you have to pull this off. And they said, don't worry, when you get on stage, we will give you the agenda for sure. So I trusted them, got on stage and said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this fantabulous event. And then I was going on and on and on. The agenda did not come. So I had to wait, I had to play by the ear and see how to manage and many things. So that was one incident. And there was another event that was one of the ministers got late to come for the event and they gave me the signal to start. I started.